What's up, I'm Kittens, and I'm here with Guitar Center today, and I'm about to show you how to prep for various DJ sets. I'm a DJ, producer, and educator for over a decade who's played Coachella and EDC, and I've had a series of workshops that helps women and queer people learn how to DJ. So being a DJ means you need to really tune in to other people and kind of figure out how to give them what they want while also balancing out your taste and your style. So today I'm going to talk about 3 main DJ sets that you might come across: festivals, clubs, and corporate events. So we're going to start with prepping for a club set. My very first club set did not go as I had hoped. I was not as prepared as I thought I was, and I spent so much time stressing about what I was going to play that I wasn't even engaging with the crowd, and it just made it really stressful and not fun. After that, I felt like I prepared in the wrong way, where I was thinking out every single song I was going to play, and that didn't give me the freedom and flexibility to connect with people in the room. What are they responding to? What do they like? Where do they want to go? What kind of event is it? I didn't have that openness. So from there, I learned there's a happy medium when it comes to preparation and things you can do so that you're ready to go, but you also have that freedom and flexibility to kind of go where the journey takes you. One thing I like to do is prepare 3 to 5 songs, depending on the space that I'm going into. I have a general idea of what kind of crowd I'm walking into. Is it going to be a special event? Is there a type of theme musically? Is it something pre-existing? Is it something that's really experimental and you can get weird with it? I just want an idea of what I'm walking into. And then I figure out my first 3 to 5 songs that I know are going to mix together well, and they're really going to be a good introduction to who I am. But that gives me enough time to vibe out who's in the room and where we're going to go. And one thing I do ahead of time that helps me really be ready for those moments, depending on what kind of direction we want to go, I am so organized with my crates. I have things broken down by genre, by subgenre, by super duper small niche of that genre. I've got parties that I've played in the past sets that I've done where if maybe I'm in a room and it reminds me of one I played in before and something really worked, I can just hop back to that. It just really helps you kind of jump around and be ready without having a rigid schedule to stick to. Now, there's another thing that I feel like a lot of DJs need to be prepared with, and that is a safety toolkit to pull out if a mix is not going the way you want it to. Even the best DJs out there at the biggest festivals have technical difficulties. Maybe something is happening. Maybe your USB drive is freaking out. You never know what's going to happen, and sometimes you just need to be able to pull out of there without making a big scene. So there's a few things that I like to do using effects that really help save the day if you're in a bind. One is a pretty standard one that most people would know to use, and that is the reverb or the echo. If something's not sounding so good in a mix, instead of waiting and trying to fix it for so long and just letting that train wreck kind of draw out, just throw an effect on it and pull out and get to your next song. Nobody's going to notice. They're going to think it's part of the whole vibe, the whole plan, and you can just keep it moving. Don't let people see you stress. The second one is the loop roll. This has saved my life so many times, and it's something that used to be used a lot more often when people were playing on turntables and clubs. So the loop roll is used to essentially sample a piece of music that's playing from one of your decks, whether it's turntables, CDJs, whatever. It takes that chunk and it loops it for however many bars you've selected. So if you have an 8-bar loop, it'll take an 8-bar loop of whatever's playing, record it, and keep it looping. So that really saves the day if you need to unplug something, if you need to restart a CDJ that's stuck in some weird frozen state, or something happened, or you need to switch over. There's just a million reasons that you might need to have that handy and in your pocket, and it saves you so much time. So finding a part of the song that is not going to be annoying to be hearing on a loop, depending on how long you need to let it run, just helps so much. So now I'm going to show you how to use the loop roll function in case you're in an emergency. what I just did there was I selected an 8-bar loop from the song that was playing, and I was able to actually turn the CDJ off and it continued to play. So it's perfect if you have some reason that you need to restart your gear, if something just isn't working the way you need it to, gives you that time. Now, a festival set is going to be much different than a club set because most of the time you want to actually really be super aware of what you're presenting. It's less of an exchange, less of a conversation that like a club might be, and more of a presentation. You're sharing what you want, you're sharing your art. Think of it as you're bringing a painting to everybody. So you're going to think it through a little bit more. You're going to rehearse. You're going to really keep every little thing in mind and really fine tune every little mix as much as you possibly can. This is a time to showcase your creativity, your skills, your techniques. I played the Sahara stage at Coachella, which is definitely known as like the main electronic stage. It's really big. There's a lot of room for a lot of people, and you have to kind of keep in mind a lot of things. There's huge screens. You don't know how many people are going to show up to your set, but you want to be ready and you want to make sure that they're really getting a full picture of who you are, from your visuals to the sound to the energy. One thing I did was I kept in mind what time of day it was, how many people I could kind of assume would be there, what kind of vibe I felt like they would really respond to, and what my version of that would be for them. Another thing I planned outside of my actual set was my visuals. I knew I wanted to take people on a journey. I didn't want to keep it all like super hype the whole time. I wanted to really show all of these peaks and valleys and winding roads of the music. So what I did was I paired it with visuals that kind of took people through that as well. I used nature settings to kind of reflect the different moments and the energy of the songs I was playing. It felt like if you're going through something that was really intense, it was going to be maybe like some crashing waves that had a crazy effect on them. But if it was something really serene and a moment of like openness and breath and calm, the visuals would reflect that as well. So you can really go a bunch of different directions, but I knew what I wanted people to walk away with that day, so I made sure the whole entire package represented that. Things you can do to prep for the festival set ahead of time are making a million cue points. You really want to log all your little cue points in, have notes. You have to be so tight on your timing. A lot of times festival sets are really short. Maybe you have a 40-minute set. So you have to really make sure you're not missing those moments of transition. You're not missing those prime mixing moments. So having your cue point set, whether they're hot cues or anything like that, it's going to stand out and remind you like, hey, you need to be mixed out by this point, or you need to start mixing in at this point. I rely on those so much. Having that little extra visual cue is a game changer because you're usually thinking of 90 things in the moment of a performance. So having something to glance at and be like, uh-oh, I need to get started on the next track here really makes a big difference. Now, corporate events are going to be different from festival and club because there's a lot more things you need to keep in mind. It's less about who you are as an artist and what you're sharing. It's a little less about, is everyone in the room just like having a good time at someone's birthday? It's not like that. You have to actually think about a few other things and zoom out and consider more of the business aspects, which there's some constraints there, but it helps you kind of figure things out and figure out a clear direction for how you want to prep. So you might think about, what does the brand sound like? What is their vibe? What kind of party are they having? What kind of event are they having? Who's going to be there? Do you need to prep clean tracks because maybe there's going to be some people that are a bit younger? Is it something that is going to be more mellow? Is it a brand that likes more hype stuff? What does it sound like? You need to learn to ask them questions first of all, because getting a really clear idea of what they want is super important so that you can keep that in mind when you're prepping for your set. What is your version of what that brand sounds like, and how do you bring it to life? So it's kind of similar to a club where you would be keeping in mind the vibe of the room. If people are not responding to something you're playing, you have to kind of go a different direction. And maybe you are in a totally different tempo range. Maybe you're playing something that's much more mellow and slow, and you realize, I gotta kick it up here. How do you get from one tempo range to another? How do you change the vibe very quickly without it feeling strange and out of place? Let me show you how to do that. transition from something that was a little bit more down tempo into something a bit bigger, I just made sure that my timing of the phrases was really tight. If you start blending a really long intro that's super hype into something that's really down tempo, it can just feel kind of weird. Making sure that I had enough time to increase the tempo of the song that was playing and bring in something that had that deeper, more intense kind of drum sound and rhythm going. I was able to set it up so that it had that build, it had that tension, and then the relief was in the moment that this more upbeat, kind of bigger track dropped. A few bits of advice I really wish I had when I was starting to DJ is make sure that you have your cue points. You want to know these songs. You want to know them well. You want to know when phrases happen, when things change, so that you can use those and kind of anticipate these different moments and be ready for them. Another thing is to organize your music. Organize it so well so that no matter where you're at, what kind of moment you're in, if something changes and it isn't what you expected, maybe it's a different crowd, maybe the crowd isn't responding the way you wanted them to or thought they would, you have some things to fall back on. You know where you can go and rebuild a set in the moment and just kind of take things on the fly. If you want to learn more about the Pioneer CDJ 3000s, DJM, A9 mixer, or any other DJ gear, go to guitarcenter.com, contact one of their expert gear advisors, or check them out yourself at your local GC.